What's going on, you guys? And today I got a special video for you. I got my top 10 UFC fighters of all time. Before we get into the video though, it is my opinion, okay? We can all have different lists. We can all have different fighters on our lists, okay? Let's not get mad at each other. Don't get mad at me. Listen, it's just my opinion. My opinion does not matter. I'm just a fan of the UFC who watches fights, and I have opinions. That's it. It's just opinions. Let's not get mad over each other. Let's just have a great conversation, and let's debate. Let's have a friendly debate. But let's go ahead and get into the list. I'm gonna go and give you one honorable mention because I consider him to be top 10, but then I thought about it and I'm like, maybe he's not top 10 yet, but in the future he could, and that is Alexander Volkanovski. What else is there to be said about Alex? Probably the second greatest featherweight of all time. A lot of people will say that he could be number one, and honestly, if you say that, I wouldn't be mad at you at all, just because Alex is fantastic. He's one of the all-time greats already. Beat Jose Aldo, who I believe is the greatest featherweight of all time. It's kind of a spoiler for my list. But yeah, only has one loss. Beat Max Holloway 3 times. Beat Chad Mendes. I mean, what more do you want from Brian Ortega in a probably fight of the year, arguably, of 2021? I mean, bro, he's done it all. Like, he is a fantastic fighter, and if you have him in your top 10, hey, good for you. I wouldn't argue with you, to be honest with you. He's a fantastic fighter, so yeah. He is at my number, I guess my number 11. So yeah. Number 10, I have Conor McGregor. A lot of people might get upset about that, saying that he's too high, he's not even top 20, whatever. I don't care. Listen, did I put him in number 10 maybe because of bias? Yeah, maybe just a little bit, but hear me out. Conor McGregor is obviously the biggest name in the sport, right? We can all agree that he's the biggest name to ever grace the octagon in the UFC, right? But he is a double champ. He's defeated all-time greats that are on this list. That he's defeated Jose Aldo, who I have higher than Conor McGregor. He defeated him in 13 seconds. And don't get me where, oh, he didn't defeat Jose in his prime. Bro, he was literally still in his, like, bro, I still believe that Jose Aldo is a very good Jose Aldo. Like, don't make it seem like he fought a bum Aldo. He did not. He just got in his head and it was able to counter him with a clean left hand. I believe, was it a left hand or was it a right hand? I don't remember. That's how long ago. I think it was a left hand. I'm pretty sure it was. It was a left hand right down the middle. But that's besides the point. But I mean, listen, bro. Conor, a lot of people are going to say, oh, Conor's not an all-time great, bro. He's the first ever double champ. Nobody will probably ever surpass the popularity that he is at right now. Has a fantastic 2 fights with Nate Diaz, obviously one of that he lost. And then he avenged the fight. And the fight all odds, you know, a lot of people said, oh, he gassed out. He gassed out so quickly. What happened in that fight? What happened? Yeah, was he tired a little bit? Yeah, but he was still fighting. He was still going. And he was able to get the unanimous decision victory. Come on, man. Give him some respect. Give him the respect that he deserves. And listen, he could come back and maybe win a few more fights. I don't know if he's going to win the championship, to be honest with you. He's probably not, but one man can dream, right? Listen, I'm a big Conor fan, so obviously a little bias there, you know. But still, I do believe that he deserves to be top 10. Like, if you can make a really great case, and like, he could be top 10. And obviously, there could be other fighters that are above him, but like, come on. Conor McGregor, the biggest name in the sport, first ever double champ. He's at my number 10, okay? So that's how it is. So my number 9 is Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman is at number 9 strictly because he's the most dominant welterweight that we have seen since George St Pierre. More dominant than Tyron Woodley. And he's definitely the second greatest welterweight of all time. For sure. Obviously, the last fight he lost, he got knocked out by Leon Edwards. But listen, I believe that his overall game and what he has done so far in his UFC career already puts him at the number 9 spot. I mean, listen, he's defeated Tyron Woodley. He's defeated Gilbert Burns, Colby Covington twice. He's defeated Jorge Masvidal twice. I mean, he's defeated a lot of people. I believe he beat Rafael dos Anjos as well. He has a very, very good resume right now. And if he can get his title back against Leon Edwards, I mean, there should be no conversation that he should be in the top 10. He's for sure a top 10 fighter of all time if he's able to get that title back. I already have him in my top 10. I already have him in my top 10 just because he's already... his greatness is already very high for me to put him up there because of his resume and how dominant he's been as the welterweight champion of the world. So he has at my number 9 spot. Number 8 is Mighty Mouse, and a lot of people are going to be upset. Hear me out, okay? Hear me out, hear me out. The reason why I don't have Mighty Mouse higher is because he fought in the weakest division in the sport at the time. Let's be real. The weakest division in the sport was the flyweight championship. It was the flyweight division, okay? Was he dominant? Absolutely. He was the most dominant. He's the most dominant flyweight champion that we've ever seen, and I don't think anybody will top him. Not Brandon Moreno, not Davison Figueiredo. None of those people will be as dominant in that division like him, okay? He literally was just beating everybody. Every contender that was in that division, he beat, yes. But if he would have just went up in weight, went to 135, and won the belt and became the first ever double champ, or became a double champ, he would probably be top 5 for sure. He would probably be in a lot of people's top 3. He might even be the GOAT for a lot of people if he did that, because he was so dominant in that division that he went up in weight and then won the championship there. He's definitely for sure in the top 5 100%. But since he did not do that, I can't put him above the other names on this list. So he's there. Listen, and by the way, I do believe that he beat Henry Cejudo the second time. I thought that Mighty Mouse did enough to win that fight, but that's besides the point. I have him at I believe it's number 8, correct? Number 8? Yeah, number 8. Daniel Cormier. So Daniel Cormier, might be, I don't know if it's controversial, to be honest with you. Daniel Cormier is an all-time great. He's a double champ as well. He went up to heavyweight, one of the toughest divisions in the world with the heaviest hitters, and beat the greatest heavyweight of all time and knocked him out. He knocked him out. Okay? And in the light heavyweight division, the only person that was better than Daniel Cormier was Jon Jones. Think about that for a second. The only person that's better than Daniel Cormier in light heavyweight was Jon Jones. Everybody else, he was defeated. He defeated Gustafsson. He defeated, what's his name? The dude that he is really hard and stuff. He beat Derek Lewis, by the way. He defended the title. He beat Derek Lewis. Anthony Rumble Johnson. He defeated him twice. So, both times, I believe, yeah, by rear naked choke. So, bro, I mean, he defeated Anderson Silva. And I understand Anderson Silva was not like, okay, it was a short notice fight, but he still has Anderson Silva, a W over Anderson Silva under his belt. I mean, come on now. You got to give him some credit for that, right? Beat Dan Henderson, Roy Nelson, Frank Mir, Josh Barnett. I mean, he has an incredible resume. Not only that, he is the double champ and became a heavyweight champ in probably the greatest rivalry of all time with Jon Jones. That's the greatest UFC rivalry of all time. And then probably one of the greatest trilogies of all time with Stipe Miocic. Okay? So you got to give him credit for those. And that's why he's at my number 7 for sure. So let's go on to the next one. Jose Aldo is my number 6. Jose Aldo, like I said, the resume speaks for itself in the UFC. The longest reigning featherweight champion. And it'll probably be like that unless Volkanovski continues to fight in that division. I don't know if he wants to go up or what. But Jose Aldo has done so much. Multiple fights with Chad Mendes. And I understand he had some hiccups, especially as a well, not really as a reason. He actually went down to 135 and did pretty well for himself. He defeated some top guys. And honestly, to be honest, the last fight that he had, which was against Divashvili, the only reason why he lost that fight, if I'm being honest with you, was because of the altitude levels. Because he fought 5 rounds with Rob Font and did extremely well. And all of a sudden, he's gassed in a 3-round fight against Divashvili. I mean, come on, bro. There's just no way. There's just no way that Jose Aldo will be like that. It's because of the altitude levels. I'm giving that excuse to him. I am. Okay? He's an all-time great, and he's definitely... I think Jose Aldo should be in everybody's top 10. I think Jose Aldo... And if you put him top 5, I wouldn't even argue with you, to be honest with you. I wouldn't. Like, if you put him top 5, hey, go ahead. So... But yeah, let's look through... I mean, Jeremy Stevens, Frank Yeager, Chad Mendes multiple times, Korean Zombie... Ricardo Lamas, Uriah Faber, Cub Swanson. He beat everybody. And then he faced Conor, obviously, and then he got stopped by Conor. But, I mean, he's the greatest featherweight of all time. And he's probably... he might get surpassed by Volkanovski, but listen, he has done so much in this sport, was dominant for such a long time, one of the longest reigning champs that we've ever seen. So I put him at my number 6 spot. And at my number 5 spot, who's on my number 5? I kind of forgot already. Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight of all time. Stipe Miocic is he's the greatest heavyweight. I don't know if it's close. It could be close at one point with Francis, just because Francis is like insanely scary and he could knock just about anybody out, and he could just go on a big time winning streak and beat everybody in the heavyweight division. So he has a chance, but he has the most title defenses in the heavyweight division, heavyweight history. What else does he have? He's won 2 fights against Daniel Cormier, one of the all-time greats in Daniel Cormier. Defeated, I believe it was Fabricio Werdum for the belt in an insane knockout where he was like literally running back and then he just clocks him, easily knocks him out in Brazil. I believe it was in Brazil. Correct me if I'm wrong. And became the heavyweight champion of the world that way. I mean, come on. And let's see he defeated Mark Hunt, Arlovsky, Fabricio Werdum, Alistair Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, Francis. He defeated Francis Ngannou, the most scariest fighter in the whole division. Defeated and dominated him. I don't even think he lost a round. I will have to rewatch the fight, but I'm pretty sure he dominated the whole fight, right? Was able to use his head movement and stuff like that, use his wrestling to just dominate. And obviously the second time didn't go as planned, but still, he's an amazing fighter and he deserves a lot of respect, and he's the greatest heavyweight of all time. So he's at my number 5. And at my number 4, I have Khabib Nurmagomedov. The reason why I at first thought that Khabib was the GOAT. Hear me out though. It was recency bias. Recency bias was the reason why I put him as the GOAT. He's 29-0. He doesn't have one loss on his record, but he did not do enough to become the GOAT just because of his resume. He did not fight enough. And obviously, I'm not blaming him for that, okay? He retired because of his father, because of his mother's wishes, and I have so much respect for him, but that doesn't mean that I can put him over everybody else just because of that situation. If he didn't do enough, he didn't do enough. Listen, he beat Conor, dominated Conor. He dominated pretty much everybody he fought. Just about everybody in the UFC and everybody before, he dominated. He barely lost any rounds. Dominated Justin Gaethje, put him to sleep. Dominated Dustin Poirier. He would have dominated Tony Ferguson if they would ever fight. I'm telling you right now, he would have dominated Tony Ferguson as well. I don't care what anybody says. Listen, Tony fans, I'm gonna be real with you. Khabib would have easily beaten Tony Ferguson, but that's besides the point. But listen, he defeated top names, but he just didn't do it for a long period of time. If he would have fought a lot more time, let's say if he would have just fought 5 more times, he might be the GOAT. He might be the greatest fighter of all time. But for now, he's at my number 4 spot. And at my number 3, I think these 3 should be in everybody's top 3. I think this is like the basis for everybody's, I think everybody, for the most part, has the same or similar top 3. At my number 3, I got Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva, 16 wins in a row in the UFC. Nobody has done that yet. And since with Kamaru Usman losing, nobody's coming close to that. Let's be honest. It's going to take for I'm assuming Volkanovski will have to be the guy to do that. Because right now he's on probably the longest winning streak. Because I know Izzy lost the light heavyweight fight. So he can't do it. I don't know where Jones is at currently right now. I don't know how many more fights Jon Jones is going to do. So yeah. But yeah, let's look at his resume. He fought everybody and he was beating everybody. Let's be honest now. I'm looking at his list. He beat Chael Sonnen, Stephan Bonner. He beat Chael Sonnen twice And by the way, in a come from behind victory, Forrest Griffin, Dan Henderson, Rich Franklin. I mean, he defeated a bunch of guys, and he's, by the way, the greatest middleweight of all time. Israel Adesanya will have to do a lot to surpass Anderson Silva. Because although, like, Izzy's making a case for himself, but people forget how much Anderson Silva has done, especially for the UFC. He brought a lot of eyes to the sport as well. I like to take that into account as well for my GOAT conversation. You know, if you brought a lot of eyes to the sport, you definitely deserve a lot of, like, love and praise, and definitely should be higher on a lot of people's list just because of that. But the resume speaks for itself. 16 fights in a row won in the UFC. Multiple TKO wins in an amazing fashion. But yeah, that's pretty much... And he's still fighting, by the way. He just literally defeated Tito Ortiz. I mean, come on. In a boxing fight, even though it's a boxing fight and it's Tito Ortiz, and he beat an actual boxer, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he beat a boxer in a boxing fight. Think about that for a second. You know how impressive that is? So you got to give this man a great deal amount of credit, for sure. Not Israel Adesanya, but Anderson Silva, one of the all-time greats for sure, 100%. But at my number 2, I have George St Pierre. George St Pierre is higher to me than Anderson Silva just because the losses that GSP had, he avenged those losses. He beat Matt Serra. He beat Matt Hughes after that. He avenged those losses. And he did it in dominant fashion as well. And, I mean, he's the greatest welterweight of all time. And obviously Kamaru Usman is slowly making that case. But still, it will have to be a lot for Kamaru Usman to surpass GSP. A lot of people forget what GSP has done for the sport. GSP, in a lot of people's eyes, is the GOAT. Because he obviously didn't get caught with steroids. There is rumors that he might have done steroids. I don't know if that's true. But listen, not only that, he came back after, like, what, a 4-year hiatus, and defeated Michael Bisping to become the middleweight champion of the world. So he's a champion in 2 divisions as well. Think about that for a second. Defeated Johnny Hendricks, and I know a lot of people said that he lost that fight, but defeated Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit, Jake Shields, Josh Koscheck multiple times. Dan Hardy, Thiago Alves, BJ Penn, John Fitch, Matt Hughes, Matt Serra, everybody he defeated. Like, he was just, he ran through the whole division. He avenged his losses. And what else can you really say about that? I mean, George St Pierre should definitely be in everybody's top 3 for sure, at least. But listen, if you make a case for Anderson Silva being number 2, or you make other people for number 2, well, honestly, to me, the only person that can surpass GSP is probably Anderson Silva. But yeah, GSP for sure, definitely top 3 all time for sure. But he's at my number 2. And number 1, I think it's kind of obvious, is Jon Jones. Jon Jones is my number 1. It's kind of self-explanatory. Jon Jones has only lost once, and that is because of, I believe, of a disqualification. He had a disqualification loss. But he was dominating that fight as well. And I mean, the resume speaks for itself by far, and it's not even close. It's not even close. He's the greatest light heavyweight of all time, and, like, second place is a distant second. Like there's Jon Jones is, like, up here, right? He's up here. Everybody else is down here. It's not even close. It's not even close. And like I said, defeated Daniel Cormier twice. Defeated Thiago Santos, Dominic Reyes, Anthony Smith, Gustafsson, Dan Henderson, OSP, Glover Teixeira, Chael Sonnen, Vitor Belfort, Rashad Evans, Lyoto Machida, Rampage, Mauricio Rua, Ryan Bader, Stephan Bonner. He defeated everybody. Did you just hear the names that I just named? Defeated all of those names. Some of those are Hall of Famers. Some of those are all-time great fighters. Okay? And he was running through everybody and stopping to do. He was getting finishes against a lot of those guys. So, I mean, what can you really say about... That hasn't been said about Jon Jones. He is an all-time great. He's the greatest of all time. And if he wins the heavyweight championship, I mean, it's going to be hard to debate who is number one. When Jon Jones does that, he might solidify his legacy with that, to be honest with you. So he's not my number one. And yeah, that's my list. If you guys like my list, make sure to like it. If you don't like my list, like the video still. Listen, you can comment down below, and we'll have a nice little discussion. But I'll see you guys with another video soon. Peace.